going on, y'all? This is J. Marie Booklist, and today I'm coming to tell you there are a lot of different types of personalities when it comes to your coworkers. So you have coworkers who are there to work, and then you have coworkers who are annoying, and you have coworkers who are needy, and you might have some coworkers who are incompetent. But, there's favoritism going on, so that's why they're still there. Things like that. They might have made an agreement with the boss. And don't think bosses and the employees don't be working in cahoots. They do. I had a boss who had asked one of the nurses to be a spy. And I think another lady was a spy. She wasn't in our department. She was in another department, but she was always on our floor. I think she was a spy. And so, then you have people co-workers who care about the patients, and they do what they're supposed to do. And then you have those who they just there to get a check. You have some people that's been, well, I tell you, these people just are walking. Woo! Now, if I was coming the other way, he would have got ran over. Okay, for real. And then there are some people who just been there for so long that they just do what they do. I know that when I first started on the other floor, the charge nurse, she asked me, she said, how come you always, because we had to work every other weekend. And so the weekend I worked, because usually everybody, like this group worked this weekend, and then this group over here worked next weekend. And that's usually how it was. And when I first started, she asked me, she said, well, how come you always work the other weekend? And I was like, it's just the way it fell, But, she took it that I chose to work the weekend I worked. I didn't want to be with them, which is kind of, it fell the way it fell, but I'm glad it fell the way it did because they were annoying. I was with the cool group, okay? Her group, they always stayed telling on people. Golly, that was the most tellingest floor I ever worked on in my life. I never worked on a floor where so many employees ran telling on each other. I had never, ever in my life worked on a floor where ran telling on each other. It was, and then smiling in each other's face. I thought maybe it was, I ain't trying to start nothing, but I thought maybe it was like a cultural thing because that floor was diverse, meaning it was a lot of Haitians and Americans and whites, and it was just a lot of people. Whereas when I went to the ICU, it was more white and Jamaican. Like all the black nurses were Jamaican, and then the white nurses, there were no Haitians over there. The Haitians was the respiratory therapists, and they're not nurses, and they were cool. So I don't know. I was like, I never, like, what do you gain? What do you gain from lying and telling on people? What do you gain? So I don't know. I think the boss, don't get me wrong. Now, the boss had a little bit to do with it, but also I think it was the charge nurses, because all of them had been there for years. Like, they had been there for 20 some odd years. So they all like worked together. They had been there for a long time. They were all getting pensions, let's put it like that. And except the one, she had been there for a long time, but she wasn't a part of that original. So out of the 5 charge nurses, 3 of them had been on that floor together for probably like 15, 20 years. So one of the things I noticed is that whenever a new person came, they tried to get the person to take sides. That's why the charge nurse asked me why I always work the other weekend. You don't like us? They were trying to get me to take sides. And tell you the truth, I did like where I was, and I did like that charge nurse because she kept it real. I can't do with that fake phony. My my tolerance is 0 for the fake phony. I can't do it. And then running, telling, and lying. I just can't. I can't deal with that. But even the ones who weren't there for a long time, well, not on that floor, they got involved. But then also, I think some of it was the boss, because she was not like that when she first started. We both started at the same time, and we both had the same name, okay? And she wasn't like that, because me and her got along fine, and then it just went downhill. Ooh, that car got hit. And so it's a lot that goes on. It depends on what floor you work on. Like when I went to the ICU, I guess the difference with the ICU is that the nurses, they stuck together. Don't get me wrong now, they was messy, okay? But they stuck together. Whereas they ain't gonna run and tell on each other, because they didn't believe, I don't know, they just did not like that. They don't like you run. Now, don't get me wrong now, they gonna talk about each other, but they ain't gonna go run tell on each other. They ain't gonna do all that. Whereas the other floor, so, but you come across people who just, you and them work real good together. And then you have some that don't. Like, there on the other floor, there was a nurse. I think she used to drink, because she didn't know how to do nothing. Like, how you keep asking me the same thing? Like, what is wrong with you? I think they ran her up out of there. But I think she used to drink alcohol. And because I know I smelled it a few times on her breath. And she was always smacking on gum. I think she was somewhere in them room. Like, she probably, but anyway. But she got on my nerves. She didn't like me, I ain't like her. But she was always needing me, which is fine, but like, how many times we gotta have the same conversation? It's annoying. And then you just got, now in the ICU, there was a nurse who was a tattletale. Nobody liked her, and I'm going to make a video about her one day. And I'm just letting you know right now, it's going to be the longest video ever in YouTube history. Okay, I'm telling you that right now. She got on my nerves so bad. I don't know how many times we almost, but anyway. But yeah, that's gonna be the longest video in history of mankind. She was super annoying. Like, she's gonna annoy. When I tell you all the stuff, you're gonna be annoyed. But she was just one of those that she had no life. And she was miserable. I think she might have had some mental issues, and she didn't want to deal with them, because she had made a comment, because her cousin ended up in the hospital, and I think it was a boy, a girl, I can't remember. I think it was a girl, and somebody had said, one of the nurses, because they messy, had asked her about, her taking medication, and she was like, no, she don't believe in taking medication, like, for issues, when you got issues. And so, because the nurse was being messy. But that's why I said I think she knew she had issues, but she didn't believe in taking medication for it. But she was super annoying. Look, you gonna have a lot of different personalities, and depending on the unit and who's running it and how it's run, you can either have a good day, a good weekend, a good month, good year, or you can just have a horrible day, a horrible weekend, a horrible year. It just all depends. Like I said, the one floor, that was the mess they told on each other. It was so, if I told y'all how many times I got called into the office, oh my goodness, okay, if y'all don't leave me alone, okay, don't come over here bothering me, get dealt with. But anyway, I'm over here trying to work, you come with this foolishness, and then I get called in the office, and then they go run the tail. Boy, if I told y'all. But then, like I said, when I went to the ICU, I was happy. So it just all depends. It depends on the personalities. It depends on who really runs the unit. Like I said, in ICU, the nurses ran that. We don't care. Look, they didn't care what management said. Like, whatever. I remember one time we had an issue. I talked about it in the video. We had a violent visitor, and we had the patient. It was the patient's son-in-law, and he threatened to kill the doctor and everything. It was a big old whoop-de-doo. And he wrote a letter and left it at the hospital, telling the doctor he was gonna kill him and all this. So it was this big old whoop-de-doo. They was about to call the police and everything. Like the nurse. And so then they didn't want him in there. The nurses didn't want him in there. And administration came back and said, well, you know, if we don't let him see his father-in-law, it can make it worse. Ooh, they was hot. They was hot. They were hot. The nurses was hot. They don't play that. But anyway, it depends. So look, your co-workers, they all got personalities, but how your life goes depends on who really runs the unit and who really runs the unit. I mean, that's basically, if it's messy, it's messy, you know. And but if it's messy, but we ain't gonna run and tell on each other, we're gonna keep this between us, then, you know, that's different. Because if I'm talking about you, and I'm talking about you to another nurse, the reason I'm talking about you because you done did something. Why you bringing management into it? You know, like, or, you know, now if we cussing each other out, that's different. You know what I'm saying? But anyway. So, you know, it's basically who runs the unit. That's basically what it comes down to. So tell me, what kind of unit you work on? Put it in the comments. What kind of unit do you work on if you work in a hospital? But like I said, the first unit was, I lasted 2 years there. But like I said, those charge nurses, they had beef with each other, and they tried to get people to take sides. That was their biggest thing. Whereas the other unit, they weren't like that. They had beef, but they kept it amongst themselves. You don't get management involved in stuff like this. Running, telling, they ain't tolerate that. So tell me, what kind of unit do you work on, or have you worked on? What are your co-workers like? And you can also follow me on my blog. It's jbreebooklets.com. That's where I talk about being a health unit coordinator. And I'll talk to you later.